Why don't sesh?
Okay. I always have the good intentions to get things done early, like when there's an assignment that is assigned to be done like in 2 or 3 weeks, but I always fail to like meet those requirements, and that just reflects on my behalf. It's just showing me that I want to do good, I'm thinking wisely, I'm going the right approach, I'm acting foolishness to actually not doing it and procrastinating and waiting at the last minute. So that's on my fault. But in other words, people can use this in advancement. So the quote that I chose is, "It is human nature to think wisely and act foolishly." So what does that mean? We all have good intentions. We all want to strive and just be these like elite people, but we sometimes just act foolish, and we can all just relate to that. One example I like to use in particular for using this in your advance is Miley Cyrus. She sells a lot of records, and we don't know why, but she's smart too, and she acts foolishness. She acts foolish in the doing. So, where does that lead us? Like, she's smart, obviously, for doing this, because everyone can relate to human nature, and that's basically what this quote is saying. That it's just human nature and to act foolishness and to think wisely, but it can also be a consequence, because people can look down upon that, just like my example where I was thinking right, I wanted to get things done, but it just didn't come to mind because I was just going out parties or meeting up with friends, that kind of stuff. So in conclusion, I think I just want to state a word of action. Just be on top of your stuff. It's okay to fool around, but not all the time. And keep on thinking wisely, because one day you might be, like Steve Jobs, who's a perfect example, because he wasn't foolish because he got these things done, and he was just such a wise person. So I just like to reflect on him for a moment, and I think that's it.
No, you can keep that souvenir of the day. Yep. Or throw it away. Don't put it back in the pile.
Oh yeah, I get it now. I hope everyone's like you never
It's like you Instagram, it's like
Yeah. 236.
I don't see you for being the brave one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
What's up, crap?
I would've. You should have heard me. I didn't say shit. Good job. I give you props.
Because do you think you
I was already just like, you might practice with I said, all of you think we're good people. What is it? Good things are, the best things in life are free, and then after that I'm like, yeah.
Right, Ethan, your attention device, you have a nice personal story that you start off with. You kind of introduce the topic in the transition material, and then the topic comes up again, so it sounds a bit redundant at that point. There's not really a preview of what the body of the speech is going to entail. When you get to the main part of the speech, I think you've got one good example that you start with. That's that Miley Cyrus example. And then on the second point, which I assume is the second point, it sounds like you're sort of just wandering around. It did sound like the Steve Jobs thing was a last minute insert, like it hadn't been planned, and suddenly it felt like it would fit in there. I think if you had planned it earlier and set it up in your preview, it would flow a lot more smoothly, and you'd have probably also thought of something else to say about Steve Jobs. On the presentation material elements, I think at the beginning your voice needs to be a little bit more forceful. You were better as you got into the speech, but you need to be a little bit louder. Kind of remember, this is the start of the speech. The audience is a little bit distracted. You need to take a little more control at the beginning of the speech, and then you can relax a little bit more in the body of the speech. There were limited gestures in most of the speech, but at the end I thought there were some really nice indicators when you were doing the summary. I thought that worked pretty well. Your eye contact is all over the place. You were looking at the wall, you're looking at the floor, occasionally you look at the audience, but mostly you're just, what's going on out there, and you need to be a lot more focused on the people that you're speaking to. All of your anxiety's coming out in your feet. You are just, you are a pacer. You're pacing way too much. You need to kind of plant yourself, take some control, give yourself some sense that, look, I'm now here, I'm talking to you, and I'm going to hold this point of view for a little while. You're not up there a long period of time. It's less than 3 minutes that you're speaking, and you're just back and forth, back and forth. It's uncomfortable for the audience to watch you do that. And even though I know that it might feel natural to you, it really looks unnatural to the people who are watching you. And so you want to get some control on that. I thought you had a pretty good summary at the end of the speech, but your summary was undermined by a bad exit line. It didn't seem planned. It was like, I guess that's it. You don't want something like that. All right, thank you.